Angela, thank you for coming on today and taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to little old me. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me.
So let's sort of get straight into it. Tell me sort of a bit about your background and what you do. So for those people that don't obviously follow you or know who you are, gain sort of what you do and what you're about.
Cool. All right. So I am Angela Hauck, and I am from a small little town in Ontario, Canada. So 1,000 people is what I grew up around. We did not have a grocery store, and my mom had the diner in town. So didn't have a grocery store, but we had the little diner that my mom had. So that was my life growing up. So going to the diner, eating chicken fingers and fries, drinking pop. Like, we didn't have family meals. It was just come to the diner, what do you want? And then that's what I ate. And never an athlete, never played sports or anything. Just kind of like small town girl growing up around cows and horses and the diner. That was my life until I was about 21. So at that point, my weight was 200. I had like never exercised. So I was like, oh, low energy, always sleeping, just feeling like a bag of shit all of the time, to be honest. Was low self-esteem, like hiding behind layers of makeup and like cropping my body out of pictures because I felt so self-conscious just about the way that I looked. And so I used to diary quite frequently, and I remember opening my diary. This is when I was 21, and I just wrote a diary entry that was like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want to just be done with all this, like the way that I'm feeling right now. So that was the beginning of this epic weight loss journey that has brought me to today. I am almost 30, so it's almost been a decade since that moment, but that is what catapulted me into where I'm at right now, as a fitness competitor, successful online personal training and nutrition coaching business. And those in between years had a couple of turbulent points that I do want to bring to your attention, because I think they bring some context to where I'm at right now. So I go through this weight loss journey. I lose, I don't know, like 60, 70 pounds or something like that ish. And at that point, I didn't know how to eat healthy. My family didn't know how to eat healthy. All I knew was that chicken and vegetables were good. That was like all, and fruit. Chicken, vegetables, and fruit. I knew those were healthy, so that's all I ate. And I wouldn't even put dressing on my lettuce. I literally would eat like a bowl of lettuce with like chicken. So ridiculous. But I knew that like those were three things were healthy, and I knew that I had to move my body. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna walk. Didn't have weights or anything. It was like, I'm just gonna walk and run and listen to my shitty country music and just be like, okay, it's fine. And then day after day, the weight just kept rolling off. And because I just had been eating so shitty and like hadn't been exercising, to be honest, that like big weight loss journey was really freaking easy, because I went from like probably eating, I don't know, ridiculous amount of calories and not exercising for like a long time. And then all of a sudden was like, okay, chicken, vegetables, and fruit. And it was, it was successful. So that was the first stage. But then what ended up happening is I was like so afraid of eating anything other than those things that I knew to be healthy. And I also was in this stage of, I'd already went to school for broadcasting journalism and had decided that, okay, radio's not for me. I'm just going to, I don't know, just party and be a little bit of a crazy bitch. So during that time, to manage my weight, I got pretty heavy into drugs and alcohol and became a bartender and did that for like 2 or 3 years. So I was still exercising, wasn't taking care of my nutrition though. I was just like managing my weight by eating like shit, like bare minimum food, doing a bunch of drugs, and then like that was keeping me skinny. So it was like this roller coaster of ups, downs, not with my weight, but with my happiness level. So I was doing this job that wasn't really making me happy, but it made a lot of money, which was able to finance my lifestyle. And I was just kind of in this lost place until I was about 25, when I was like, you know what, I'm buying a one-way ticket to Europe, and I'm just going to figure life out while I'm over there. So I took this trip I landed in Barcelona, Spain, and then all by myself, and I'm like, I'm just going to backpack maybe like 3 months until my money like runs out. So there I was, just venturing, still pretty heavy into partying and just trying to figure my life out and trying to figure out like what in the world am I going to do. So I can vividly remember being in Ibiza, Spain, and I was like coming down from doing MDMA and like sitting by myself in a cafe, and I was like, you know what, like I need to do more than this. And I opened, there was like either a newspaper or a magazine or something, and it had this really interesting article, or really interesting, like, I don't know, like saying in it, and it said something to the nature of like, how do you want to be remembered? And it went through all the things of like, people aren't going to remember this, they're not going to remember this, they're not going to remember this. All that they're going to remember when you pass on is the legacy that you leave. And I sat there in that cafe like, dude, this can't be my life. I can't be remembered like this. I can't be remembered as like this train wreck girl that like is fun for a few hours, but like she's a mess. She's a hot mess, just kind of stumbling through life, you know? And I just sat there and was like, you know what? Like, I think I need to give this fitness and nutrition thing a try. So after all of the craziness of that trip, being robbed and hitchhiking and just ending up in like some really dangerous situations, I was like, okay, girl, you're 25, go home, write your parents a letter and say, I'm sorry, I'm moving back in. I got no money, but I'm going to try to figure my life out at this point. They had already kind of given up on me a little bit. They were like, whatever, she's just a train wreck. Like, they still loved me, but they were like, we're sick of helping you. You need to just figure your life out. So I wrote them this letter and was like, okay, I'm going to do fitness and nutrition. And they had seen me kind of like dabble in it over the past couple of years, but they were like, okay, whatever, we're just not giving you money. You can live here, but we're not giving you money. So that began the beginning of where I'm at right now. So now at the beginning, I did not have any personal training certifications. I walked into a gym and they were looking for personal trainers. And I was like, you know what? I know a little bit about fitness. I'm not certified, but I'm just going to write them a letter and say like, hey guys, like, I'm interested in fitness and like I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to like still go through the courses, but like can you just like give me the job and then I'll learn as I go and I'll just shadow you guys and you guys will just kind of like help me. And the manager was like, yeah, girl, great, you have good enthusiasm. I know you don't know all the things that you need to know, but we'll walk you through the ropes. And they took a chance on somebody who at that point, I didn't even know if I believed in myself, but I was like, I just need to take a shot and see if this gym will, will take a chance on me. So from there, I did my first competition, kind of amidst all of that. So I was getting certified, decided I was going to do my first show, and then we did my first show and was kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. I got second last place, but like it was the most ripped I had ever been. So I was like, that's fine. I got like, there's room for improvement. I should probably know how to pose. I probably should like not have a shitty tan. I probably shouldn't try to do my own makeup. Like all those first timer competitor mistakes. Like it was a good learning experience. And so I worked at the gym for a couple of years and then I moved to Toronto to move in with my now fiance. And I was like, oh my God, I went from my small little town of 1,000 people to Toronto, which is like, you're not even from Canada and you know Toronto is like massive. So I was like, nobody's gonna believe in me in Toronto. I can't go into a Toronto gym and then be like, oh, cool, you're from Teeswater. Like, where the fuck is that? So, so then that I went there and was like, okay, screw it. I'm gonna do online and I'm gonna still train all the same clients that I trained back in my small little town. And then maybe there'll be some more like online people that think like, oh, hey, your story's kind of cool, or hey, like, you lost some weight, you overcame a drug addiction, and like, I just feel like we could click. And that's when my online business started. And now I have clients that are kind of all over the world, like Turkey, Hawaii, Bermuda, all over the States, all over Canada, UK, like just kind of everywhere. And I've been able to find a lot of people who resonate with a lot of the struggles that I have went through throughout the course of my life. And now, right now, current space right now, I have a crazy 2-year-old toddler who is amazing, but also drives me totally crazy. And everything is a big struggle because everything is a temper tantrum. But love you, Theodore. You're awesome. And I also am training for my comeback show. So I haven't competed now in 4 years. Also had a baby in between. So this is my comeback show in 10 weeks that I'm doing. So if you guys want to go and check out my Instagram at Angela Hauck, you can follow my journey there. I'm also posting weekly updates on YouTube. So you can follow what it is that I'm doing in that department as well. But that's me in a nutshell. And most days I'm, just kind of flying by the seat of my pants and just seeing where the wind takes me.
So, obviously, working in the fitness industry myself, a lot of women that come into the gym obviously have given birth recently or 6 months ago, even to a year ago, and they're struggling to get back into shape. What sort of tips would you give them? Because obviously you're in shape yourself. You've got a 2-year-old. How did that journey kind of start for you?
Yeah. So a few things in terms of like that stage for moms. So I actually think it starts before the baby comes out. And there is going to be some tips I give you for if you've already had your baby, but I do want to talk about for those that are pregnant and just thinking to themselves, like, how do I have a healthy pregnancy so that the journey later isn't as bad? And I really think that we set ourselves up for success for that postpartum journey throughout the pregnancy, right? Like pregnancy and that 9-month period is not your excuse to be like, okay, well, I normally eat healthy, but during this period of time, I'm not going to eat healthy. Or I normally exercise, but during this period of time, I'm not going to exercise. Like sometimes I think we fall into that trap of like, okay, I'm just going to get the baby weight off. But there's tons that you can do just by even walking throughout your pregnancy and staying active and being mindful about the foods that you're consuming so that your starting ground is, instead of being 80 pounds heavier, maybe your starting ground is only 40 pounds heavier. Maybe your starting ground is only 50 pounds heavier or whatever that is. So that's one thing that I would say. Like think about that, and maybe you've already had a baby, but maybe down the line you're going to have another one. So that's something to be mindful of. You do want to prepare yourself for that part. The other part is now we've had the baby. What can we do about what it is that has happened? So at least 6 weeks before we resume to normal exercise, or weightlifting is typically what I suggest. But walking is something that is very, very underrated. A lot of people are like, I go to the gym and I gotta run and I gotta like push. As like they feel like if I push harder, the baby weight's just gonna come off quicker. And what actually happens is that your pelvic floor has been like supporting a really big baby, and it's had all this weight that's been coming down on it. So when you go into like, I'm gonna do a boot camp, or I'm gonna do like running, what's happening is your pelvic floor is not ready to do that. So what ends up happening is, to be honest, you pee all over the place, and you're like, I'm sure if you've worked with moms, you know, they're always talking about how they pee, and women think that like that is just what they're stuck with. They're like, oh, I had a baby, I'm just going to pee forever. But really that's not the case. It's just a circumstance of decreasing the amount of high intensity exercise that you're doing for something that's lower intensity. So choosing walking over running, choosing elliptical over something that's going to have that impact on the pelvic floor is something that's really important. Now, I don't know if you guys in the UK have this, but here we have pelvic floor physiotherapy. And that's something that no matter what, I think a woman after having a baby needs to go do. And what it is it's repairing internally. So what happens for moms is they come to me and they go, I got this like little pooch thing, and it's like all hanging out on the front of my stomach, and it looks like I'm still pregnant, and what in the world is it? And it's that you haven't repaired internally. So your rectus abdominis, like those front abdominal muscles, they had to stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch. And then now you have this baby, and especially if you've had a few babies, they've never had time to go back together. So now we just have this connective tissue on the front of your body that's not connected. So when you go to like do a lot of movements, even like front loading positions like planks and stuff, your rectus abdominis can't support you, or those ab muscles can't support you. So you still have this pooch that's hanging out there, and you haven't repaired internally. And that's where a pelvic floor physiotherapist comes in a way that a trainer can't come in. And that's the same as, okay, you hurt your shoulder and you're like, oh, I have a lot of pain in my shoulder. Okay, I'm going to go to a physiotherapist. Pelvic floor physiotherapy is the exactly same thing. You need a professional to be able to help you rehabilitate from the inside out, or at least kind of get like, what is it that's going on internally, or you're going to get super lean and you're still going to have this like little pooch because those internal muscles have not repaired. Now, in terms of additional things that can help, weightlifting is certainly something that I think we should start introducing after that 6-week mark. Muscle is incredible because it's able to help you burn more calories on the regular. It's able to make you create that like toned or muscular look or just more defined look on your body. So we do need to have weight training a couple days a week. Depending on the time that you have available, you might only be doing like 15-minute sessions a couple times a week. It's really just what you have available as a mom, but integrating those big muscle movements will be the foundation of it. So you want squats in your program, you want deadlifts in your program, you want shoulder presses in your program. All of those like standard big muscle groups, you want to make sure that you're working those guys. But that's only like half of the puzzle. The other big piece is the diet piece. So if you're somebody who's breastfeeding, just coming off, we've just had our baby and we're breastfeeding and worried about our milk supply, don't go too crazy into a deficit. I'm now over 2 years postpartum, and I really like dieted super, super slow. If you check out my social media, you can kind of see what things looked like after my son. So yeah, 175-ish pounds. I'm now like 125-ish. So like slow dieting, slow deficit, slow amount of fat loss versus aggressive fat loss, so that your skin isn't all like just hanging out, guys. If you diet really quickly, your skin's just going to be hanging out and you're not going to be happy with that. You're going to be like a smaller version of it, but you're not going to be happy with like what the actual skin looks like, which is a struggle for a lot of moms. So what I recommend with your nutrition is, I'm a big advocate for flexible dieting and counting macros, but I don't think that comes in the form of typing it into a calculator and saying, hey, how much should I eat? I think it goes from like, where are you at right now with your calories, and then cutting from there. So what I'll always have clients do, or what I always suggest for women to do, is track a couple of weeks in a MyFitnessPal account, get like a baseline, okay, this is how much I'm eating. And don't lie to yourself. Don't be like, okay, well, that kind of looks like it was about a cup. Like, measure that shit, see if it's actually a cup, and get like a baseline. And then you'll be able to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to cut back a little bit. That's not rocket science. If you're eating 2,000 calories and you want to lose a little bit of weight, it's not rocket science that you need to bring yourself into a deficit. But the best recommendation I have is, don't be crazy about your deficit. A little bit at a time. See how your body responds after a couple of weeks of it, especially if you're breastfeeding, because we don't want to go like 1,200 calorie diet and your poor little baby isn't going to get any milk and you're going to feel like shit and you're just going to be hungry and moody all the time. Like, start high, keep your baby happy, and be okay with the fact that it might take you multiple years to get to that end goal. But why not do it right and like do it slow, do it right, and not be in a circumstance of like, okay, well, you know, I'm not really there because I was trying to get the results too quickly. And that's why I hate crash diets. I hate detox diets. I hate all that shit of like, here's your like here's your little package that you're going to do for like a couple of months, and then you're going to get all these crazy results, and then you're not going to have any clue what to do after the program's over, and you're going to be left with just a mess of like not knowing what to do next. You're going to jump into another program because you're like, oh, well, I don't know what to do, so all I can do is like a new program, right? I think the best tool you can do is teach yourself how to eat. And then slowly decrease your calories with your protein staying high. So generally from your diet, I say anywhere from 30 to 40% or 30 to 40% protein, depending on where you're at. If you're only eating a smidgen of protein right now, I'm not going to tell you to go up to 40% because that's just going to be way too big of a jump. If right now you're only getting like 20 grams of protein, you're going to slowly increase that up until you get yourself to a place where you're about a gram for your current body weight.
Yeah, I mean, I think I find that a lot of people want like the results so fast. It's like, oh, it needs to be done tomorrow, and I'm like, I say to people, you know, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't. You don't need to do these crash diets or drastically decrease your calorie intake because it's not sustainable in the long run. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, then they get to this certain point, and they may get to their results, but then it's not sustainable. So what happens is they end up start piling it back on, fluctuating in weight and appearance, and you know, it has, I think, like sort of a mental implication as well, because you're like, oh, I'm feeling well shitty today. Oh, today I look good. Like it's so it dips, you know, up and down so much. Touching on the diet aspect of it, what are your views on sort of like herbal life? Do you have that in America? I think
I think it's like I think Herbalife is like a meal replacement
yeah,
kind of thing. Interesting, because I talk about this in my YouTube video this week, so it's kind of on my brain. So I do use meal replacement shakes. They're isogenics, but I don't believe that isogenics is like, oh, I gotta use isogenics. I only do it because meal replacement it like fits for my lifestyle. Meal replacement is like easier when I have to eat a boatload of food. Like, yes, I'm in a competition prep, but I'm still eating like enough food that it's a lot of time to prep all those meals. Meal replacement shake is just a tool that I use to save time. Being on a program that's like Herbalife is the only way to lose weight, or like here's your like everybody fit into this cookie cutter box, and like no matter where you're at right now, no matter your age, no matter your whatever, this is the program that everybody should be on. A lot of people aren't going to see success with that, and I don't think that you should ever only have one tool in your toolkit. That's why I use supplements from like a wide array of companies. That's why I like don't believe in just one methodology. I feel like everybody needs to find what fits for them. And that's where I think a coach is really, really helpful if they're a good coach in not saying, okay, this is what you have to do. They help you find what is going to be the best approach for you and what's going to be the most sustainable approach for you. That might be integrating meal replacement shakes, but a lot of people don't like drinking their calories, and that's not sustainable for them. They're like, okay, I can do that shake program for a couple months, but eventually I'm going to be like, fuck you shakes. This tastes like, you know, like, so like I think you just have to find what it is that's going to get you results, but also be like, I could see myself eating this way for a long period of time and it not being like something I hate.
a drag. Yeah. No, I mean, a lot of people sort of that I know who are trying to lose weight or whatever, they kind of scrap eating pretty much altogether, and it's just meal replacement. And it's like, yeah, I have these 3 shakes a day
Mm-hmm.
and this little protein bar, and that's it. And I'm just like,
Doesn't teach you how to eat. You
you
still
know,
got to go out. Yeah, you still got to go out and eat. You still got to go out and eat at restaurants. You're still going to find yourself going and getting fast food sometimes. You're still going to be at birthday parties. You still have to learn how to freaking eat, right?
mm,
Like you can't just be on a program that's only shakes all the time, because as soon as you get yourself into a situation where it's like not a shake, or maybe you forgot your shakes, it's like, well, fuck it, I'm getting a burger and fries because I don't got my shake right now. And like that's a stupid mentality, right? Like that's a really dumb mentality for long-term sustainability with the way that you're approaching your nutrition. And that's where you need to learn outside of the Herbalife world and outside of the whatever meal replacement shake world, you need to learn how to go into a situation, make a good choice, and be okay with it, so that it's not a situation of feeling as though not a situation of feeling like, okay, today's a write-off because I just had this one bad meal or because I had this one bad thing.
yeah. I mean, I think like sort of what you're doing is kind of integrating the two and having like obviously proper meals and food along with the meal replacement slash supplementation is the way forward. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously I understand people are on the go sometimes, or you know, you've got the child rush in the morning, you've got to get your kid to school, and that it's probably quite handy to have like a shake then. But obviously don't forget that you do need to incorporate other things and keep track of those calories, so you're not drastically decreasing by a stupid amount and end up with flabby skin all over the place or whatever, because you've not done it right in the first place.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I wanted
go on.
to. I just wanted to add one other point in relation to all of that. So that's really just, so many people are looking for the supplement that is going to make them get to that end goal. And when it comes to nutrition, I feel like we can reference Eric Helms. He's amazing and has a nutrition pyramid. And when you're looking at his nutrition pyramid, you're looking at, okay, what are the big rocks? What are the things that matter? And like supplementation is it's the last thing right on the top. So unless you have the other things of the pyramid taken care of, supplements aren't going to do what they're supposed to do, or you might be looking for supplements to do the roles of everything else, but it's just not a sustainable approach. So the way that I teach clients and the way that I like to educate people about nutrition is like the first thing that matters when it comes to nutrition is like, are we in a deficit if we want to lose weight? Are we in maintenance amount of calories? Are we in a surplus? With that, everybody's different. You can't find that out just by like typing that into Google and being like, oh, what is my caloric deficit? You can get a number, but what it is going to be relative to the way that you've been eating over the past couple of months and past couple of years is going to be able to show you what your true maintenance is. And that's where tracking that food when you're first starting lets you know, like, do I maintain this weight on this amount of calories, right? So that's the first thing. That's the big rock, right? Like, are we in a caloric deficit? If we're trying to lose weight. And then the next thing that matters is, where are those calories coming from? So are they coming from carbs, fats, protein? How much of your diet or how much of those calories are coming from each of those three items? Now, in terms of where the calories should be coming from, it's going to depend on if you're strength training, if you're not strength training, also going to depend on your preference. Some people like to eat more fat. Some people like to eat more carbs. Some people feel really good with tons of carbs. Some people don't. And that's a little bit of like an experimental process that you have to go through to find out, like, sometimes we just get to a point where too much carbs just has us feeling lethargic. It doesn't give us extra energy. We just kind of feel like laying on the couch and being a sloth, right? And then the next level of the pyramid, so if you've mastered, the calories are right, where I'm getting the calories from are good, so we got that taken care of. Then we're looking at micronutrients. So then we're looking at, where's your fiber for the day? What are your vitamins and minerals looking like? Does it look like does it look like you're getting enough iron? Does it look like you're getting enough vitamin C? Like all of those sorts of things are the next thing that I'll dive into with a client. Then I actually go into nutrient timing prior to supplementation. So if we have not mastered all four of those items, we're not introducing supplementation. So it's only my most intermediate, like high level, intermediate, and advanced people that I'm even introducing supplementation for, and it's only if they've mastered all the other four levels and we feel good that they're like doing them on a consistent basis. So then at that point, we're looking at nutrient timing. So like, are they getting enough protein and carbs around their training sessions to allow them to train hard and recover properly? And then some days we might do more food. Some days we might do more carbohydrates, like with scheduled refeeds or high and low days. So we're playing around with all of that before I even go like, okay, now I can introduce supplements, because you really need to be a master at all of those other things, in my opinion, before we think that supplementation, which is going to give you a competitive edge, that extra 2% or extra 3%, if you haven't got all the other shit mastered, me throwing a supplement your way is like you pissing away money, in my opinion, because there's so many other things that we can do naturally before we add in the supplementation to give you the competitive edge, to just make sure you've mastered it, and then you have all of those habits in place, and then it's like, okay, you got all this in place, yep, you're a rock star, you're good at macros, everything's balanced, you're consistent, all of these things are very automatic for you. Okay, now we're going to add in a couple supplements that might be able to help you get the results or get to that end goal.
So what motivates you? Like, what gets you sort of up in the morning, ready, challenging yourself? Because a lot of people, this can kind of be a two sort of questions, is how do you develop that mindset as well? So there's some people out there that are not motivated, and you can try and push them and give them as much motivation as they can, and they might dip into it for a little bit, but then they seem to just fall back into that habit because they haven't got that correct mindset. How do you sort of tweak that, and also tell us why you're motivated?
Yeah. Let's start with why I'm motivated, and then we'll get into some mindset stuff. So in terms of, I got a couple different motivations. So my competition prep mindset, or like being motivated for motivated for that is just that there's an end goal, right? For anybody, whether you want to lose a couple pounds or you want to, whatever your goal is, that goal has to be like so clear in your mind, and then there's going to be like some progression towards that goal. So I think that's the first thing. If you're not setting goals, and this isn't even just in fitness, if you're not setting goals, you're just staying stagnant. And I hate that shit. I hate the idea of like, this is my life. This is what I'm always going to do. I'm never going to make any progress. Like, you got to set goals, and you got to be ballsy enough to go after them, even if you're scared as fuck. So I think that's the first thing, is that you got to set this big audacious goal that right now is going to scare you, but you're putting that out, and that's going to be what's going to get your ass out of bed when you're feeling like you're not want to do it. Now, deeper than that, you got to know why the fuck that goal even matters to you, and that's the bigger question, right? Like, yeah, you want to lose 10 pounds, but what the hell is that going to change about your life, right? Like, I'll get clients come into me, they'll be like, I don't have any pictures with my kids because I'm embarrassed by the way that my body looks. And I'm like, dude, we got to fix that shit. You need to get pictures with your kids because your family matters to you. You're telling me that your family is a priority to you. So that's what you need to think about. I don't want you to think about I don't want you to think about the 10 pounds. All I want you to do is think about like, you know what? It's going to feel freaking awesome when I can take these pictures and feel really incredibly confident. So visualizing what that is a big, big motivator for me on the daily. And everybody is very, very different, but finding that motivation, you got to dig internally, because it can be some really deep rooted shit, even from your childhood. And like, that's the reason why you want to lose weight. Like, maybe when you were younger, your mom used to always like make comments about your weight, or like maybe there was a boy in your class who used to always make comments about your weight. It could be anything, right? But like, that has stuck with you internally, like, and that is the reason why, or that's what you're going to use to channel it, right? Is that frustration from everybody always telling you. Like, for me, everybody always called me chubby, and that was enough to like I grew up all through high school, and so I was a chubby girl. It's fine. And that was enough motivation to just keep me going, right? Like, keep me going of like, you know what, people, if they ever see me at a high school reunion, or they ever see me on social media, their jaw is going to drop, because they're going to be like, holy fuck, she's changed. And I like that. That was a motivator for me at the beginning. But you need to find like, what is that motivator internally that's like, you know, that's going to get me out of bed. And like, even if, say you sign up, let's say you do sign up for a challenge, or sign up for a program with somebody, or like sign up for anything, there needs to be something that like is a goal, or a goal or a reward, or something at the end that means something to you. And like, for some people, you might sign up for something where you are going to get money, or you might sign up for something that is going to mean that like you're going to be able to wear a dress at something. But you need to have something in your mind that's like, life is going to be different, and I can imagine that in my mind on how life was going to be different. So that's competition prep. Now, the reason why I do what I do, and the reason why I'm so passionate about what I do, is just the fact of like, I want people to, when I die, be like, she changed my life in some way, shape, or form. And like, my only goal is to leave this planet, whatever, leave this place healthier than when, like, healthier than before. Because I think the world needs it. We need more healthy people. Freaking gets me so frustrated thinking about how many people are just like dying and so sick, and it's unfortunate. But we do need a healthier world, so that lights me up. And how do we get our mindset in the right spot? So I think we get our mindset in the right spot by realizing that you have to take fucking responsibility for your life. You know, like, nobody else can come along and like hold your hand and be like, okay, like, I'm going to walk you through this path. Yes, there's people around you that are going to support you, but you have a choice in every single situation to be like, you know what, this could be a really great situation, or this could be a really shitty situation, but you have control of that. And you need to take responsibility for every fuck up. You need to take responsibility for every single component of your life. And when you frame your mind in that way, it's like, my responsibility to myself is that if I say that I'm going to do something, if I say I'm going to get up tomorrow morning and I'm going to crush my cardio session, every time that I don't do it, every time I tell myself like, yeah, I'm going to do it, and then I don't do it, it's like when your friend keeps on bailing on you, you like break that bond of trust, and then you just stop believing in yourself. And I think that is such a powerful way to contextualize it in your mind, is that like your relationship with yourself and your ownership of yourself and your responsibility for all of your actions is all on you. So you got to stop blaming everybody. I don't care like where you're from. I don't care what your story is. I don't care like what it was that you were handed, what it was that was handed to you, or what it was that wasn't handed for you. You either are going to make changes and just do it, or you're going to expect that the rest of the world's just going to come along and do it for you. And that's just not the case. And if you're going to sit around and just do that, then that's the kind of life that you're going to have. You're always going to be overweight. You're never going to be at your goal. You're always going to be like just being frustrated and not feeling confident, and just being in a place where you're just stuck forever. And like if you sit back and you're like, yo, I just don't want to be here 10 years from now, I don't want to be here 20 years from now, then you got to get off your ass and just do something about it. And like that's the black and white of it. If you're looking for other people to motivate you, that's just, in my opinion, I just think it's pathetic. Like in terms of other people aren't going to be able to motivate you. Yes, people are going to be able to lift you up and inspire you from time to time, but you have to be the one that's just going to do it. You have to be the one that like wants to change your life. So that's how I see it.
No, I mean, I agree with that massively, because I have moments like that. So I'll have a conversation like the conversation we're having now. Get off, I'm like massively motivated. I'm like, I'm going to go and do this, do that, do this. And I start to like implement all these things. 2 days later, I just fall on my face. I'm just like, oh God, what have I done? And I think for me, like, I know why I'm like that, and what I'm trying slowly to change these things, and, you know, find my reasons why I need to get up and go and do these things. And I think a lot of parts of me are sort of, I'm too harsh on myself, like I'm my own worst critic. And I talk to my friends and they'll be like, mate, you've done this, you know, like, and you're doing really well with this. Like, and I'm like, yeah, but, you know, it could be better, it could be something else, you know. And then I kind of see that as a negative, and it like bums me down, when really I need to see that as like a motivator. Like flip it, do you know what I mean? As if to say like, yeah, well, you know, I haven't done this, but I'm going to make it happen. Douche, like, whereas I kind of go into that shell, I think, sometimes. So, but I agree with you massively. I think mindset and developing it, you have to take accountability of your own actions and be responsible for that. For yourself, if you don't go for a run in the morning, it's no one else's fault other than yourself. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people hide away from that accountability. They'll blame something else. Oh, well, I had to change the nappy or whatever. It's like, well, yeah, fair enough. You know, change the nappy, then go for your run. Like, whatever, you fit it in. 10 minutes, do a 10-minute home workout in the front room. It kind of, you know, throws people off.
Yeah, I do want to highlight on what you just said there about that happens a lot, right? Like, we have a conversation and we're like so excited, and then life happens and then we're not able to stick to it. So I think it's a situation in that kind of case. Like, I think it's fine to have goals for yourself. I think it's good to always want more. But the way that I always say it, like the way that I always like frame it in my mind, is like, I'm going to continually fail forward. I'm going to continually fuck up. And it's just the acceptance of like, I want to be further, and that's fine. But I'm also accepting where I'm at right now, versus feeling as though, oh, well, I should be doing more, or oh, I should have done this, or oh, I should have done that. Like, and I want to bring attention to the like little bit of excuses stuff. So this week actually yesterday was a really, really, really bad day mentally for me. Not in the like not believing in myself or low motivation. I just fucked up. I did so many stupid things. Like, I called my wrong person at the wrong time, and I couldn't remember my phone number. These are all just kind of side effects of being in competition prep, but I couldn't remember my phone number. So I could have sat there and been like, okay, I'm such a dumbass. Why can't I forget, or why can't I remember my phone number? Also, like, was supposed to transfer the car seat, didn't transfer the car seat, so I drove all the way to the gym, wasted, like, so much of my day, like, almost an hour of my day, because I didn't leave the car seat at the house for my fiance. So, like, I had all of those, like, moments that were, like, fuck, why did I fuck up so bad? And I think that happens, right? Like, and it's the same thing when we're not motivated. We're sitting there and we're like, oh, I just wish I could get motivated, or I just wish that, like, I could just get going, or I wish that I could, whatever you're trying to say in your mind. And you just need to take every freaking experience and be like, okay, yes, this sucks. Yes, this is not a situation that I wanted to be in right now, but I'm going to be a problem solver and try to figure out the best solution for this, even if it's like it could be the strangest of things. Normally things in our brain aren't as bad as what we think they are. Like yesterday, because I had to cut off the hour, my entire workout was like all supersets, like just like powering here, all over the place, because I was really, really short on time. And I was really, really sweating my ass off, and that's fine. That's not the way I was supposed to do my workout, but at least I showed up and at least I did it. And I think when those things happen, if we can just be a little bit more forgiving of ourselves, because we're all fucking up. We're all in our own little way. We're all fucking up in some way. Maybe we ate something we weren't supposed to eat it. And we're like, oh, shit, why did I do that? We either create this cycle of, like, feeling guilty and feeling as though, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Or we're like, nah, roll with the punches, on to the next thing. And just, like, it's almost like, I don't know, do you guys have Tinder?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, so I always think of it in my mind when I do something stupid. I'm like, oh, that's okay. Swipe another one. Oh, swipe another one. Because there's going to be lots of things like that. It's like there's always another thing. You're always going to do it wrong again. You're always going to mess up again. You're always going to have a situation where you're like, ah, shit, I wish I was further than that. But then you can either be like, meh, it's fine. Or you can be in a mindset of, like, I don't know. Do you guys have Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah.
Like the little Eeyore, like, like, you know, you can be like that all your life, or you can be like a ray of sunshine. But that's it.
No, I think it's just trying to make the best out of sometimes like a shitty situation, I guess, is sort of my advice for people when they've fucked up in the day. I'm like, yeah, just, you know, try and make the best of it. Like, look at it from the other side of the spectrum. Like, yeah, you did your supersets instead. You still got your session in. Maybe you didn't train the way you did, but you still turned up and got your A game on. Who are your, like, do you have idols? Is there people out there that inspire, like, not inspire you, because obviously you're inspiring yourself, but is there someone that you look at and you go, oh, like, you know, fucking hell, she's in tip-top shape. I wouldn't mind, like, having a big butt like her, or do you know what I mean? Someone's making loads of money or whatever. Have you got any sort of idols?
Yeah. So, okay, so a couple of things. So my sources of inspiration, or the people that inspire me, are not famous people, and not I don't know, like idols or whatever. My, like, sources of inspiration, I would say, is just like women and men that just don't give up. And I love the average Joe. I literally am so inspired. Not even like, yeah, there's people who have great physiques, but it's fine. I don't know. That doesn't light me up. What lights me up is, like, I see a transformation picture. I hear somebody's story of, like, them going from where they were at to where they are right now. And they just made some massive shifts. And that gets me way, way more motivated than a chick that has a nice ass or whatever. I don't know. So,
seeing someone going through the grind and sort of achieving something inspires you, like, to go and do it.
Average people that are just like me, moms who are just, like, just doing it. Like, women that I can see myself in. And, like, I don't know, I love postpartum journeys of, like, women who, not just competitors, but just women who are like, yeah, I got kids, no big deal. Because I hate I don't know, I feel like so many times women especially are like, now that I have kids, or now that I'm married, life is different and I don't have time for myself, and, like, blah, 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 blah. Dude, you got time for yourself. Like, just, you can, your kids, they're fine. Like, my little 2-year-old, he'll get down, he'll do push-ups with me, he does squats with me. Like, he's grown up around that, and he loves it, being in the kitchen and cooking and doing stuff with me. Just get your kids involved in all your stuff. My son helps me sweep the floor, he helps me do the laundry, so I just have him very much actively involved in my life, because I don't want my life to stop just because I had a babe. It's like, dude, now you get to be part of my life, and I can show you all these cool things that you can do. So I think women men too, but more I see it a lot more with women, is that they put their own goals or their own self like on the back burner. Like if I showed you my house right now, you would be like, holy shit, your house is messy as fuck. And like our house is so messy, and the reason why is like middle of the week, my kids in daycare a couple days a week. I'm pretty tied up. I'm 10 weeks up for my show, so I'm really busy with competition prep, and I just let shit go. Like dishes are always done, so there's not a bunch of dirty dishes. But a crazy 2-year-old, you put the toys away, and then all of a sudden all the toys are everywhere again. So like I'm like, it's fine. There's no food or like dirty, like dirt. It's just a circumstance of like his markers are everywhere and his cars are everywhere. And you know what? I'm just letting it go. And I feel like, I feel like that's the part of it for sure.
What's your take on sort of like these Instagram models and stuff? This is off the cuff, by the way, a random question. It just popped into my head. But you've got all these like Instagram girls, guys. They all look jacked, 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers. And I don't know, sometimes like I feel like they're setting this body image look and they're claiming like it's all natural and I got into shape this way and you need to buy your programs from me. And I think sometimes it has like a negative impact on the average person. I mean, the amount of people that come into the gym and say, oh, I want to look like this girl. I saw her doing this workout on Instagram. And I'm like, all right, well, you may be doing the same exercise, but are you eating the same? Are you injecting yourself with steroids like they might be? Or have you got the bum implants? You know what I mean? Like all these things. And I feel like sometimes like the Instagram and these like models and stuff like that have this like negative impact. Do you sort of agree?
Big time. So at the end of the day, I do think it's very bad for the average person to be seeing so much of that, because I think it's like amplified that like celebrity. It's making like the everyday person a celebrity essentially, and it was already unattainable for you to be or look like a celebrity. And now we have all of these like people who we believe are like normal or average or whatever that are doing the same kinds of things with steroids or doing the same things with filters and Photoshop and all those kind of things as well, and giving people like a very unrealistic view of what they can attain, like what they're able to attain. Now, do I think that a lot of things are still possible? Yeah, I do think that like people can make some really amazing physique transformations, but I think it takes a lot longer than what most people see. So most people see on Instagram that like these really hot chicks or these really hot dudes, it looks like instantly they look like that. Yes, they use something to look like that instantly. You, as yourself, are only going to do that by doing the same things that they do. But they go, okay, this is the program that I did. Fuck, it wasn't the program that you did, girl. That's not the program you did. Like, stop. So that drives me crazy. But I mean, that's what happens, is that people see that, and it seems like it happened really quickly for them. Like, it seems like it happened really quickly for the Instagram people. And people just think that that is the rate in which it should happen for them. The other big problem I have with Instagram people is that they steal money, and a lot of money, from people in a way that I don't believe is ethical. So I think they do a lot of harm in terms of that as well. I think that they give programs that are terrible and that can really damage people's health. I think that they recommend a bunch of supplements that people totally don't need and could damage people's health. And even like meal plans and stuff, like a lot of them aren't even certified or have any fucking idea what they're doing. And like, they're like, okay, you guys just eat this shit. And like, you don't know what you're talking about. And you give like thousands of girls or thousands of guys the same thing and they're all going to go do it. You can end up with some pretty serious like health risks for people that are following these crazy programs that are out there. And I get really ticked off in terms of exercises, because so many Instagram girls do these stupid fucking exercises. Like, that is so stupid. Do not do that exercise. That is dangerous. Do not. So, like, my clients know, like when they come to me, I'm not giving you stupid shit. I'm not giving you the shit. This, like, yes, it looks cool in the video, and look at her, like her arms. Yeah, okay, whatever. That is, to me, I think stick to the things that you know work. And to me, that's basic shit. I don't want like all these like whole bunch of different pieces of equipment and then let's put you in an like unstable position, and like most people who see that stuff on Instagram just aren't even ready for advanced movement, so they see all these complex things and it's like they'll write underneath it and they'll be like, oh, this is my workout, go give it a try and let me know what you think. And like most people should not be giving that shit a try, so it's dangerous to say like, go give this a try and good luck to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, touching on what you said as well about the whole making money, it's like they're recommending supplementation because it's like an affiliate link. Do you know what I mean? As well. Yeah. Oh, use my code for 20% off, yeah, and you'll look like me. And obviously, people use their codes, they go buy it, they're making money off it. Like, so they haven't got your best interest at heart. Not all of them, but most of them haven't got your best interest at heart because they just want to, cash cow in on you, basically. And with the exercise things, I agree with you, keeping it simple. The amount of times I see people doing fucking weird shit and I'm just like, why don't you just do a deadlift?
Exactly.
What are you doing? Just do a deadlift. Like, it's going to work the same muscle group, probably twice as hard. You're going to get more out of it. And yet you've got, I don't know, a cable around your fucking neck, cable around your ankles, and you're hanging from the ceiling by your arms and you're telling me it's working your lower back or whatever. I'm like, nah, don't believe it. So what's your what would you say are the keys to like a successful relationship as well? Because obviously, you've got a fiance and that. What's made that blossom and work for you? How have you maintained such a... Obviously, I know there's ups and downs.
My view is a little different and a little bit unconventional. So this isn't for everybody, but I truly believe that the success of our relationship came from two pivotal moments. And first one was that the first period of our relationship was the first time that I had been sober in, I don't even know. I started drinking when I was, because I grew up in a small town, everybody drinks, but started drinking I was like 11 or 12. So it was the first time that I had been sober in, I don't know, like sober for an extended period of time for, I don't know, let's say it was over 10 years. So there we started dating. He knew me in college actually, and he it's cute because he kind of loved me when I was chubby, which is, I don't know. But we didn't date then. He just kind of told me that he wanted to date me, and we both kind of pursued other things and didn't date each other at that point, but he expressed interest back then. And but then anyway, so first time I was sober. So the first time I had ever dated somebody sober, so I'm like clear-minded and like, okay, how do I actually feel? What are my real emotions? What is like, is there chemistry here? Is this like anything that is there anything that's, I don't know, like that's actually here? So I think it starts with that foundation of like, is there good conversation? Is it somebody that like you can see yourself hanging out with? We were just like always really good friends. He always made me laugh, and we were always just like buddy, but I never thought we would like be sexual or intimate or like develop into anything along those lines. But in that clear stated mind, I was like, you know what, this kind of seems like this could be a cool life, because there is good communication there from a clear minded standpoint. So I think like communication is like the number one thing. And then the other thing, which is very, I don't know, not everybody's going to agree with this, is I knew that we would get married after we had a baby, not because we had a baby together, but because that shit tests you in a way that like only the toughest of relationships are going to get through. Because like there we are, not planning to have a baby, all of a sudden I'm pregnant, and I'm like, fuck, what are we gonna do? And he's like, yeah. And I was almost in second trimester. Like we didn't know. We didn't know we were having the baby, and I didn't know anyways. So then I was like, okay, whatever, we'll just do this baby thing. And fuck, that first year was tough. Like so many fights, so many things of like, how gonna parent our baby? We don't know how to be parents. And like, so many sleepless nights, so many like, oh, I just need a coffee, and like, just like so many really trying moments on our relationship as we're trying to navigate parenthood. And like, we didn't end up getting engaged until like this past September, which was, our son was almost 2 at that point. And I was like, honestly, like, yes, there's going to be more turbulent times, but I'm glad we experienced that shit ahead of time, because there was a lot of doubts when we had my son. I was like, dude, I don't know if I can do this forever. Like, we're really bringing out some nasty sides in one another. And I think the key to a real, like a true relationship, or a relationship that's going to stick, is you can't be afraid of the messy shit. You have to be willing to, like, yes, everybody's going to fight. Yes, there's going to be all those turbulent moments. That doesn't mean the relationship isn't going to be able to last. It's that you need to put yourself in those situations before you make a big decision like marriage. If it's always been sunshine and roses and you've never had to go through such a big life thing, I don't know. I feel like you haven't had that true test to know what it's all about, or to know what you guys are capable of overcoming. And that's what I feel about like big goals too, is that like big goals or big things in your life that seem like mountains that you're going to have to climb and like just seem so hard at the time. When you reach the top or you get over to that other side, it's like, okay, I did it. And I think that's one of the other keys, is that we haven't been afraid to be going through the messy. And like, he deals with me being a crazy competition prep chick, which also is not an easy thing to deal with, because there's some strange things. I actually did I did an episode with him a couple weeks ago where he explained his perspective of what it's like to date a bodybuilder. So that was pretty funny too, like, because he's not a gym guy and not a bodybuilder, and like, he is a sports guy and plays baseball and hockey, but like the gym's not his thing. But yeah, so I think that's like the second key. And then I think the third key in relation to it, and this is another thing that some people think is funny, is I think you have to eat the same way, or at least be willing to eat the same way in the long term. And what I mean when I say that, a lot of people struggle because their partner is not willing to either eat healthier or willing to eat a certain way. And they think that there's a lot of that can cause a lot of problems, because eating is such a big part of your actual lifestyle. So if you're coming home and like, say you want to eat healthier and your husband isn't willing to be on that same page with you, I think the challenge is that you're always going to come home and have the chips and the candy and all the things that are going to be tempting to you. Have those things in moderation, but I do think that like one of the keys to a successful relationship is that your lifestyle and like the way that you eat and the way that you want to spend your time are things that are the same or will become the same in time. So say you decide, okay, you know what? I don't want to be like this anymore and I want to change. You need your partner to be on board with that. And that can come in different degrees. Maybe they're not doing it to the same extent. Like, I don't expect that my fiance is going to do some of the things. Like, I eat a lot of the same foods. I don't expect that he's going to always eat all of the same foods that I'm going to eat, but he's at least on the same board, same page of it, that he's not coming home with like McDonald's every night and being like, hey, I'm eating McDonald's and pizza in your face. So I think that's something that people don't think about when they decide that they're going to be with somebody forever, or when they're kind of dating. They're kind of just like, oh, well. And even women are so funny with this. Like, they'll be single and then they'll start dating and they'll be like, oh, he always wants to take me on dates and I feel like I can't get like a healthy meal because then he'll judge me. And I'm like, what the fuck? If he's going to judge you because you got a salad and be mad at you for not eating a burger in his face, screw him. You know, like, I just think that like that your partner needs to align in terms of lifestyle. I think that's a big part of it.
And high five to your fiance for getting out of the friend zone.
You know, it's really funny because he looks better now, but in college, have you ever seen the movie Superbad?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know McLovin, like the really dorky? Yeah.
Glasses
yeah, so
and that,
that's my fiance. I mean, I feel like he's gotten a little bit better than that, but we like to joke about it a lot, only because, like, I don't know, really, like I said, it wouldn't have. I never thought it was going to get sexual or like be at where it is right now. I honestly, when I knew him, was like, you know what, he's a funny guy. but like never was like, oh, I don't know if I could like ever be like attracted to him though. But I don't know. That's just the way our relationship transpired. But it's just kind of a funny thing to think back to college. We like to laugh about it.
So you started your own podcast as well. What's your podcast about?
Yeah, so my podcast has both solo episodes that I do, and then I also have guests on as well. So it's called the Transform Your Life podcast. So it's not always about fitness stuff. It's not always about nutrition stuff, but we do touch on both of those things. So a lot of the things that I'm doing solo episodes about are things that I know a lot about, which is fitness, nutrition, and mindset. But the guests come on and talk about a bunch of different things. So sometimes the guests come on and they've written a book about productivity, so that they'll be talking about that. And sometimes it'll be a guest that comes on like this morning, and she's a client of mine, but she's also a competitor. So we were talking about ups and downs of competing, some of the like things that happen after a show. So sometimes we're talking about something more specific about somebody's personal experience about something. I've also in the past had like somebody on talking about intermittent fasting. I've had somebody on talking about vegan eating. So kind of has that like health, fitness, nutrition, mindset, like undertone, I would say, to it. But the whole thing is about wherever you are right now, let's try to transform you in some way, shape, or form so that you're not stuck in the same place forever.
Makes sense. How many episodes have you done so far? Uh-oh.
14 or 15-ish? I don't know. Ish. Somewhere around there. We started November we started. So I put them out every week on Thursdays.
No, I mean, it's good that, and I think the name says a lot about it as well, is that you're kind of creating this podcast to, sort of enlighten people in a sense with knowledge and sort of an insight into the industry or, intermittent fasting, and also trying to inspire people and motivate them to transform their life. I think that's a nice touch. Whereas I just seem to just come on and just chat to random people about their lives. Just interested. I'm interested in people.
Yeah, no, that's just as cool though. Some people say like, oh, so narrow, and like it's like, I don't know. Some people will say like in the marketing space, like, know your avatar and have them just be like this one little, like be this one person. And like, yes, I think for some people that can work, to be like so pinpointed that it's like you're only talking about one thing, you're only in one zone, you're only talking to one avatar, and that's your only audience. I think that does work for some people. I find for me it doesn't really necessarily work that way, and it sounds like it's the same for you, that it's not necessarily everybody that's going to love every episode, but you're going to have a collection of people that are tuning in for certain things specifically. And I feel like if you can gain some value from it as well, like you might as well learn and grow. So I'm sure that the guests you choose are people that you're interested in learning more about. So
yeah, I mean, I'd get bored, I think, of just talking to the same people in the same sort of niche, same genre or whatever. Like, for me, I'd just be like, oh, how many times do I have to hear this drab from someone else? Like, come on, tell me something new, please.
Yeah, same story over and over. That's why I've been like diving into more of the like mindset, productivity realm as well, because I think that is like, honestly, I think your mind is like the piece of the puzzle that people can't get, because I think a lot of people like think fitness and like they think like, okay, if I just have more fitness and nutrition information, then I'll be successful, right? Like they think that like, okay, it's just like I just need to know more about fitness and nutrition. And I think if we stop and we think about it, I think a lot of people already know a fuck ton, right? It's the application of getting your mind in the right place, and the application of productivity that like is the thing that's going to allow for fitness and nutrition to be possible. If your mindset isn't in the right spot, and you're like time management and productivity is like not very good, you're going to be successful for a short period of time, but there's no like sustainability.
No, I agree. I mean, I've spoke to sort of quite a lot of people, and they have given loads of sort of different interpretations on how to like manage your productivity and time, and how to, you know, prepare your day, etc., etc. And I think if the mindset isn't there, or you're not ready to go through with that, then, you know, you're not necessarily going to get there. And I think for every individual, there's a different reason why, as to maybe they're not applying these factors. Maybe they haven't got a reason why to apply them. For example, like my own situation at the moment, if I don't get enough sleep, I have the worst anxiety in the fucking world. For some reason, don't know why, just no sleep. But yet, constantly, twice a week at least, I'll cut myself short of sleep. During those days, I'm like, oh my god, what is wrong with me? Like, everything is just like anxiety like hell. And yeah, I still do it to myself. It's like self-harm, you know? So what the fuck is going on?
But I feel like we all have shit like that we like isn't. I feel like we got a lot of. Everybody has that. Everybody has like their thing that they're like working on, and I think it's good to work on things. Like I don't know. Doesn't like progress doesn't come in the form of instantly being like, I'm going to change everything, or even I'm going to change something so drastically. And I don't know, it's that what I was talking about earlier, where we either feel guilty about it, or we're like, fuck, did it again, but on to the next. Like, today's going to be better. But
no, I'm just going to show my dog, because I've never shown him on the podcast before. There he is.
Dog's name?
Junior. So this is little Junior for all the fans out there that might check it out. He's the lifesaver, proper good guy. I thought he might be barking or something, because he come out of his bed and he was like huffing. I thought, oh, I hope he's not barking. So
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. No, cool. We'll wrap this up anyways. Is there anything you want to add?
Anything I want to add? Okay, I want to add one more thing. So I would say that if you listen to the entire podcast and you're still kind of sitting there and thinking to yourself, what's the next step, Ange? Like I'm in wherever I am right now, and I'm not sure what I should do next in terms of fat loss or muscle gain or whatever it is in terms of your goal. And I think it's taking what it is that you really, really want to achieve and then putting that into your mind. And right now, just going to come back to the competition prep thing. So for me right now, I visualize like every single day what it is that I want to accomplish. And I think that's the biggest key takeaway that for everybody of like, what's my next step? What should I do? I think we need to start by framing it in our mind of this is what I want to accomplish, seeing that clear path ahead the same way that we would be able to like drive to somewhere and being able to see that clear path in our mind. And I want you guys to take that away as the thing that you start applying as like, I can imagine what it will feel like to like pull up my pants and not have to like lie on the bed and try to jump into them. Or I can understand what it would feel like to, for me, like I want to freaking win. That's my goal. So every day I'm thinking like, dude, I gotta win. And say I don't win. Say I get to the end goal and I'm like, shit, in my mind, I like won. You know what? In my mind, I at least got to experience it. I know that I showed up every day as if I did win, and I'll be satisfied with that. But I think that we need to bring that into our mind, because our mind often doesn't know what's really happening and what's just something that we've kind of slid into there. So that's the takeaway, guys. And I really appreciate that you wanted to chat today. I'm excited to see this guy go live. And I think that's it for me.
Sorry, I'll drop your social media links, website, iTunes podcast in the description, so if anyone obviously wants to come check that out, that would be really cool. We'll talk off camera anyways, if you're up for that.
Yeah.
And we'll just have a little recap. But yeah, thank you for your time. I've really, 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 really appreciated it. It was enlightening to hear such like inspiration and also tips and little techniques. And I think I'm now going to become a pelvic floor physiotherapist. It seems like a good idea. As soon as you said it to me, I was sitting there, I was thinking, that sounds like a fucking good idea. Like maybe I could start this. So I'm gonna have a look at it anyways. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.